Ah, the woman who unmasked the heretic in our midst. To what do I owe the pleasure of your company? You're an associate of Y'shtola, but of course, Lord Drillamont confided to me that you were a scion of the Seventh Dawn. Castrum Sentry, what interest have you all in the Imperials? They hold several of our number, whom we intend to free. Any information you can provide would be greatly appreciated. I see. That might explain our scouts' reports. They observed 4 prisoners being led into the castrum, a Huron woman, an Elizan man, and 2 Lalafels, 1 male, 1 female. It's them, it has to be. Minfilia, Urianger, Papalimo, and Tataro. If that scant morsel is of use to you, you may also be interested to hear about a more recent incident. Incident? An Imperial airship made an emergency landing here in Coerthus not long ago. 2 men believed to be prisoners, a Rogadin and a Lalafel, were seen fleeing the craft. What did you say? A Rogadin and a Lalafel, Master Garland. Neither wore Imperial dress and both seemed disinclined to wait for rescue, hence our assumption that they were prisoners. Well, I'll be damned. It's Biggs and Wedge. Trust those 2 rascals to escape. We must find them, and soon. The Imperials will not rest until they've captured or killed, and if Biggs were given the choice, I fear he'd take the latter. Freeing those held in Castrum Sentry will require a substantial planning and preparation. As such, it's an endeavour that will admit some slight delay. The matter of the escapees, by contrast, will not. Shortly after the prisoners vacated the airship, our scouts observed Imperial troops setting off in pursuit. It's likely only a matter of time before they catch them. If you wish to see your comrades again, you'd best act now. If, as has been suggested, the Garleans took our fellow scions prisoner in hopes of understanding the echo, it seems reasonable to assume that they will not be executed until such time as the study is complete. But Biggs and Wedge are not scions, nor do they know aught of the echo. As Lord Portelaine said, this may prove our only chance to rescue them. I say we seize it. Thank you, everyone. You won't regret this. Final preparations are almost complete, my lord. There stands the culmination of 5 long years of painstaking work, but all our efforts will be vindicated when the Emperor's vision becomes reality. At last we have the power to purge this land of its false gods. We shall give the ignorant children of Eorzea the security and stability they so desperately crave, and which their spineless leaders have so palpably failed to provide. As you say, my lord, rest assured our engineers will not rest until the weapon is fully armed and operational. Retartan, you depart from Castrum Occidens at midnight. You will command the western front in Vilebrand. The Eorzeans will attempt to interfere with our plans. You will see that they do not. My lord, if this be your will, I shall carry it out to the best of my ability. I live only to serve the Empire. Yet, forgive my impudence, but is it proper to give command of half our forces to a... I have given you nothing, Praefectus. You have earned it, and that will be all. Dismissed. Yes, my lord. My quarters. 1 hour. My purpose here is to reconnoitre Garlean activity along Abalathea's spine. Owing to this, I have the honour of being acquainted with Y'shtola. Now, the report of the Imperial airship's emergency landing came to us by way of Zaymail Darkhold, situated to the west. Our man stationed at the entrance, a knight named Breeselt, may be able to tell you more. So as to expedite your mission, I shall furnish you with a letter of introduction. I pray that you will soon be reunited with your comrades. May the Fury grant you strength. You stand before Zaymail Darkhold, the subterranean fortress excavated by the great Ishgardian house of the same name. None but authorized personnel may enter. A letter from Lord Portelaine. So you've come about the Imperial airship. According to our scouts, the vessel had scarce touched the ground when a pair of men, captives by all accounts, burst forth and bolted. Imperial soldiers have since been sighted in the area, seeking to recapture them. What? The captives are like to be your friends, you say? Then let us pray that they are yet a step ahead of their pursuers. The emergency landing reportedly took place near the Aurum Vale, situated south and west of here. I suggest you take your search there. Seek out a knight named Piamon. He should be able to assist you. The Imperial airship? Aye, I saw it approach to land with mine own 2 eyes. I hastened to the landing site, arriving just in time to see the vessel take to the skies again, but not before it had deployed a detachment of troops. Gruff orders were being barked, and there was an air of consternation about them. There were prisoners aboard the airship, it seems, and they seized the opportunity to flee when the vessel was forced to land. The Garleans who were deployed formed search parties and proceeded to scour the wilderness. In order to alert our forces, I returned to my post, to find evidence that someone had been here in my absence. Whoever they were, they tried the door to no avail, and decided to go elsewhere. In all, I marked 2 sets of footprints, one large and one small. If you search the area, mayhap you'll be able to follow the prints to their owners. Oh, there he is. So cold. I want to go home. Ah, please don't eat me. I'm not nearly as succulent as I look. It's all skin and bones underneath, I swear. Succulent. It's you. Thank goodness you're here. It's been awful. The Garleans were snapping at our heels like a hungry pack of wolves. I was so hell-bent on evading them, I almost ran headlong into a monster's gaping maw, thrice, and when I finally found cover, it hit me how cold and hungry I was. Biggs, he isn't here. He went off in a different direction to lure our pursuers away. It's me, Sid. Have you had any success? Track down Wedge? That's wonderful news. Now what of Biggs? I see. Well, it hardly surprises me that the big fellow went off as he did. For all the tongue lashings he gives Wedge, he's always taken care of him. I've scoured the area surrounding the Darkhold, but have nothing to show of it. At any rate, we know for a fact that Biggs headed west, with both Ida and Y'shtola helping out. I'm sure he'll turn up soon. Now then, I'll make my way over to your position, while keeping an eye out for Biggs. If memory serves, there should be an Ishgardian fortification not far to your west. Monument Tower, I believe it's called. Let us meet there. Dare I hope? Was that Master Garland you spoke with? After 5 long years. Thank goodness he's alive. I'm feeling better now. Let's go to Monument Tower and wait for the chief to arrive. Well met and welcome, adventurer. What brings you to this frozen corner of the realm? Oh, it would seem your companion has caught a chill. Come and warm yourself by the fire. I'll bring you a hot broth. How are we feeling now, then? Stay here as long as you need. The same goes for you, friend. 'Tis plain you've had a hard journey ahead of you. You must find rest when you can. I'm fine now, thanks to you, but I can't bear to think that Biggs is still all alone in the cold, with Garleans on his heels. He lured the enemy away for my sake, and now he's suffering for it. I hate to have to rely on you again, but do you think you could search for Biggs? I haven't the slightest notion where he might be at the moment, but maybe, just maybe, the people here have seen something. A Rogadin gentleman dressed in the same manner as your companion. I'm sorry, but he did not come by here. Let me think a moment. I would not raise your hopes unduly, but there is a cave situated a short distance to the south. We call it the Fury's Gaze, and it may be worth the while to investigate. I make the suggestion only because your friend seems like a selfless sort. Rather than drawing the enemy to this tower, mayhap he elected to pass us by. Were you able to learn anything? Not in this area. Well, that stands to reason, I suppose, seeing as he was trying to lure the Garleans away from me. But where within this vast sea of snow and ice could he be? We can't give up. We must find Biggs before he succumbs to the cold or is recaptured. There must be someone in this tower who can help us, even if it's only to tell us where else to look. Ask them for me, ask anyone who'll listen, and hurry. Biggs's chances of survival grow slimmer by the moment. Your friend is lost in the wilderness, you say? If he's not to be found around here or in the vicinity of the Darkhold, it's possible he made for Whitebrim. To reach it, one must first travel through Danafan Pass, the southern end of which lies to the north and east of here. While I make no guarantee that your search will bear fruit, it's surely better than worrying in idleness. I wish you luck. Oh, and one more thing. Do tread warily when climbing the stairs here. Not a moon ago I near broke my neck when I slipped and took a tumble. I was going to say they look a bit lethal because there's no handrails. Whee! Our orders are to take you back, dead or alive. Which will it be, engineer? Why don't you come and find out, tinhead? Ah, it is well that you're here. The situation is grave. Biggs is in a bad way. We need to do something right now. Ida has the right of it. He'll perish if we delay. With me! He's not alone. Kill 'em all. My thanks. Another moment and I would have... He's been too long in the cold. We must find shelter for him. Monument Tower, you say? Very well. Ida and I shall bear him there with all haste. Sid will be so happy to see Biggs and Wedge again. Oh, I love reunions. I cannot thank you enough, and the same goes for the rest of you. Thank you all so much. Oh, don't mention it. We're family, are we not? Well, yes, it's just I don't think I'd ever see him again. I owe the lot of you my life. And you saved Wedges too. I'm losing count of how many I owe you. Biggs, Wedge. Gods, it's good to see the two of you again. Chief, it's you. It's really you. In our hearts, we knew you were still alive, but to finally see you in the flesh. When Alphanel told me of the raid on the Waking Sands, I feared the worst. What happened? The enemy struck with nary a warning. We didn't stand a chance. Wedge and I were in the workshop when they came. Before we knew what was happening, the Imperials had us at gunpoint. It must have been awful. There's one thing I don't understand though. How did the Garleans get there so fast? I mean, the immortal flames should have seen them coming, right? I myself have asked the same question. That day when I returned to the carnage at the Waking Sands, I noted naught amiss in horizon, nothing at all to suggest the passing of an Imperial force. From this I conclude that the Garleans came neither by land nor by air. Nay, they were born there by potent teleportation magics of the kind used by Asians. Carry on. We were bound and blindfolded and bundled into the cargo bay of a waiting airship. I can't rightly say how long we were aboard, but when the time came for us to disembark, we found ourselves in the midst of an Imperial stronghold, Castrum Sentry. Upon arrival, we were marched off into the main complex. Biggs and I were thrown into a detainment cell together, while Minfilia and the others were taken elsewhere. That was the last we heard from them. Castrum Sentry. What happened next? Well, we were held in isolation for what felt like years, but was probably moons, or maybe only weeks, and then without warning the Imperials collected the pair of us and put us on another vessel, which we found out was bound for Garlemald, much to our dread. We knew that if we were taken back there, we weren't like to leave again. So risky though it was, we sabotaged the ship's altitude control, and thereby forced an emergency landing. And in the midst of the ensuing chaos, we managed to slip our captors. The rest, as they say, is history. Ha! If I didn't know better, I'd call that a likely story. Sabotaging the altitude controls of an airborne vessel. That will have been Biggs's handiwork, like as not. You always were resourceful in a tight spot, my friend. Thank you for returning my dear assistance to me. It would seem I owe you yet another debt of gratitude. There are still many questions in my mind, but the answers can wait. Minfilia and the others still want for rescue. Alright, you lot. Garlean Ironworks is back in business. Let's go and give the Imperials what for. Hooray! Thanks to you, Biggs and Wedge are with us again. Now we must find a way to rescue Minfilia and the others. Gods know we've kept them waiting too long already. Based on what we've learned, I believe it's safe to say they're being held at Castrum Sentry. So let us convene at Revenant's Toll in Mordonna. 'Tis good a place as any to prepare, and better than most. The road leading east, then south, will get you there. When we arrive, let us seek the advice of the local adventurers. We're bound to learn a thing or two that will benefit our mission. Well met, friend. What brings you to Revenant's Toll? Did I hear you rightly? Your friends are being held captive at Castrum Sentry, and you want to rescue them. I don't mean to discourage you, but that might prove difficult. The stronghold has been on high alert of late, with armoured patrols seen about the perimeter around the clock. Not even a fly could get within 100 yards of the walls undetected. If the Garleans were alerted to our coming, we cannot know what they'll do to Minfilia and the others. We must act with the greatest stealth. Aye, it has to be good old-fashioned infiltration. But with security so tight, how are we going to smuggle ourselves in? Why, I've a mind to walk through the front door. Huh? The front door? Aye, we'll disguise ourselves as Imperial troops and march right in. For this we'll need a few sets of Imperial uniforms, a suit of Magitech armour and impeccable timing. That's a bold strategy, but it might just work. Where we are, there's certainly no shortage of opportunities to borrow the equipment. Knowing those Imperial bastards, they won't even suspect that we savage Eorzeans would think to use their technology. Then it's settled. If you've determined to go ahead with this, I'd recommend you speak with Garlean. The fellow's got a personal grudge against the Empire and happens to know a deal about Castrum Sentry besides. I've no doubt that he'd want to be of aid. Ida and I shall go to reconnoitre Garlean activity at the stronghold. It would not do if something were to befall our comrades before we had the chance to act. Come and join us when you're ready. Let's do this. Sometimes I wonder, Ida, are there ever times when you're not enthused? I'm nothing if not enthused, Justola. I mean, you're beginning to remind me of Papalamo. I'm so confused by this weather. Looking for Garlean, are you? Well, you found him, whoever you are. Eh? You're looking to get inside Castrum Sentry and you need my help? Something tells me we're going to get along just fine. So you have friends at Castrum Sentry, what want for rescue? That Slaffborn knows me too well. Aye, you can count on my help. I've got a score to settle with the Imperials, and I'd never pass an opportunity to get back at the Whoresons. But enough about me, let's talk strategy. Rescuing folk from captivity is right delicate business. A single oversight, just one little blunder and it's all over. You can't leave any room for uncertainty. For starters, you need to confirm beyond the shadow of a doubt that your friends are where you think they are. You don't want to risk your neck only to discover they've been moved elsewhere. But how can you find out, you ask? By following these instructions. If you approach Sentry from the east, you'll see a swampland to your left called the Tangle. Get in there, never mind all the marbles, and navigate your way to the southwestern corner. You'll come upon some drainage pipes coming down from the stronghold. Don't ask me how I know, but one of them leads back up to the command tower. If you listen closely, might be as you can eavesdrop on some of the happenings within. Once we know for certain your friends are there, we'll move to the next stage of the operation. Now get going, and Godspeed. Clear with a hint of eerie light. It's purple and it says it's gloom. The faint sound of conversation echoes down the pipe. What of the captive? Does she still refuse to speak? She may as well be a deaf mute for all the information we've gotten out of her. The others aren't much better. The Ellison gets on my nerves most of all. Every time he opens his mouth, it's only to spout gibberish. I do wonder, why is the Tribunan so obsessed with this Minfilia woman? They say she possesses some mystical power, something we Garleans don't have. Mystical power, like the kind the beastmen use? How am I supposed to bloody know? If you're so curious, why don't you ask the Tribunus yourself? As well try to tumble her. I like my head where it is, thank you very much. Our break is over. Best we get back to our stations. The footfalls grow fainter until all is silent. 'Tis good to see you again. I'm given to understand you've conducted some reconnaissance. Tell me, what were you able to learn? Sir Minfilia and others are indeed at Castrum Sentry. Their presence thus confirmed, we may proceed with the mission. While you were afield, Sid took the liberty of devising a plan of action. Pray have the details from him. Good work. As Alphinaud has already told you, we've plotted out a course for the rescue. The gist of it is unchanged. We disguise ourselves as Imperial soldiers and infiltrate the stronghold. Garlean is looking into ways to procure a suit of Magitech armour. In the meantime, I need your assistance for some preparation of my own. Minfilia and the others are counting on us. Let us not keep them waiting any longer than necessary. While Garlean goes about devising his plan, we need to see some preparation of our own. It wouldn't do if the Imperials were to discover that they're short on armour. To prevent this from happening, I'm going to put together a makeshift communications jamming device. The explanation is like to get a bit technical, so bear with me. Imperial forces communicate at a distance via electromagnetic waves. Simply put, voices are born upon etheric lightning energy that permeates the air. Now, the hill-sized cluster of corrupted crystals to the west has been observed to amplify the self-same energy. By making use of this property, we should be able to drown out Imperial voices. To ensure that we have enough amplification, we must identify the most potent crystals among the cluster. For this, I need you to go there and use this device to take readings. I'll mark the likely places on your map. Oh, and just so you know, plasmoids are drawn to lightning energy. Don't be surprised if you run into a few. You have the readings? Excellent. Here, let me see the numbers. Yes, 4 of these crystals should suit our purpose, though I pray that we won't have need of their power. My thanks. Clean the wax out your ears now, because there's something I want you to do by way of preparation. The plan's to have you enter Castrum Sentry, all decked out in Imperial duds, but a disguise is more than just the clothes you're wearing. You also got to act the part. At the very least, you need to know how to perform a convincing Imperial salute. First impressions are everything, as they say. I could teach you the salute myself, of course, but it's best you learned it from the experts. So get yourself near as you dare to Castrum's sentry and watch the Imperials doing what they do. Nothing to report, sir. We've received an anonymous warning that insurgent forces are near. We must redouble our vigilance. I shall recommend the patrols be increased. So, did you manage to learn the Imperial salute? No. Best you don't demonstrate. I'm liable to fly into a rage and crack skulls. I'll just take your word for it. You've learned Imperial salute. I've heard of your plight from my friend Garlean. As a fellow adventurer and son of Eorzea both, I'd offer you my assistance. In order to infiltrate Castrum's sentry, you and your comrades must disguise yourself as Imperial soldiers. The question is how to go about acquiring the uniforms and helms. There are places a man might purchase them, but individuals who deal in such wares are not the sort to whom you would entrust your secrets. It would be more prudent, I believe, to procure what you need via traditional means, from the bodies of their recently deceased owners. The fortified area before Castrum's sentry never lacks for Imperial patrols. It ought not take long to obtain 3 sets of gear, one for each member of the infiltration team, Biggs, Wedge and yourself. When you have what you need, please return here and allow me to inspect the spoils. Were you able to obtain 3 sets of Imperial equipment? Yes, I was. Damaged, as I'd suspected. In their present condition, I fear these uniforms and helms are like to draw suspicion. They must be repaired, if only superficially. Fortunately, the blacksmith Egenolf at the Diamond Forge in Rowena's House of Splendours should be able to hammer them into shape in no time. I've already sent word ahead, and have been assured that he's expecting you. Worry not, we've already impressed upon him the need for utmost secrecy as to the nature of your mission. So you're the venturous Sark Malark sent, are you? I've been waiting for you. Now let's see what you've got for me. I see. Ah, yeah. I reckon I can hammer these back into shape for you. After all, I owe your friend Sark Malark a favour or two. Took good care of old Egenolf back in the day, before I fell in with old Rowena, he did. Did you know he's the son of one of the wealthiest families in the Sultanate? Wouldn't expect someone like that to end up in the life he did, but I suppose he always felt the venturer's life calling him. But here I go, blabbering on when there's work to be done. Just hold your horse birds for a moment or two, and the great Egenolf will have your gear looking good as new. And there we have it. Won't do you much good in battle, mind you, but from what I hear, that's not your priority anyhow. Do send Sark Malark my regards, will ye? Have you had the uniforms and helms repaired? Yes, these will serve beautifully. The great Egenolf never fails to impress. The quality of these repairs would fool even a legatus. Thus equipped, you should not have any trouble blending in amongst the Imperial forces. Lest you fear that the Garleans might detect your foreignness, foreigners in fact form the greater part of the Garlean invasion force in Eorzea. You see, when the Empire subjugates new territory, it assimilates the people of that land into its armed forces. In turn, those conscriptive forces are sent to subjugate faraway lands. In this way, Garlemald nips rebellion in the bud and expands its territory in one fell stroke. With that, my part in your mission is done. I'm full glad to have been assistance to your cause. Why would I, a wealthy merchant, wish to help you? I know not where you heard such a tale, but believe me when I say that I am but another humble adventurer, one who desires only to act in the best interests of the realm. Good work getting them Imperial duds. You'll be pleased to hear I ain't been idle myself. It took me long enough, but I finally hatched a plan to get us a suit of Magitech armour. Now from what I've seen, Castrum Sentry deploys a Reaper for most of its patrols. Trouble is, the patrols themselves are irregular, meaning random routes and random deployments. Hardly any of them come anywhere near Revenant's Toll. So hoping to coax the Imperials out of their shells, I took the liberty of feeding them a bit of the old false intelligence, told them insurgents had designs on their stronghold. Tain't far from the truth, now I come to think of it. Any road, we should start seeing more patrols than we have up until now. What you need to do is approach one of these patrols dressed up in your shiny tin suit and alert them to the enemy's presence. Having done that, you'll want to lure them as near to Revenant's Toll as you can. Like as not though, they'll be wary of venturing far from their own walls. If they do need a bit of extra encouragement, use this smoke signal here. Filched fresh from an Imperial scout. They'll come running when they see that, and when the cavalry arrives, you hit them hard and make off with their Reaper. Simple as that. If I ain't mistaken, there's a patrol sweeping the perimeter right now, so run along, eh? Oh, don't forget to salute. Carry on, soldier. Insurgents gathering to the east, you say? Judging by your description, they are well beyond the perimeter, but I'll not have it said that I was remiss. You return to the scene and keep an eye on those insurgents. Should aught go awry, use your smoke signal to call us. I hope you don't mind my joining. Seeing as we're seizing advanced weaponry, I thought it best to be on hand. Ah, there she is. This is the place, but where is the enemy? Sir, over there. Send in the Reaper. Let us make an example of these insurgents. At last, our very own suit of Magitech armour. Not wishing to look a gift chocobo in the beak, it does seem rather the worse for wear, doesn't it? Biggs, Wedge, what's your honest assessment? Well, there's the fact that she's smoking, of course, but looking past that, I'd say she was structurally sound. I don't like the way these legs are buckled. I hate to say this, but the servo mechanism may be damaged. Eh? But aren't those things protected by ilm-thick armour plate? They are, yes. It's odd. The casing doesn't seem to have taken a blow. I suspect we're dealing with a faulty part. Well, whatever it is we're dealing with, we're not resting till it's fixed. Not one wink of sleep. You got that, Wedge? Oh, cat chocobo. I heard that. A hall has been set aside for us, for our use in Revenant's Toll. That's where we'll carry out the repairs. Look for us there. You have to toss me!